Welcome to a brand new wave, drowning out the noise that's tame. Liberty whispers through the brave, breaking free from every chain. Nullify the rules they crave, crypto beats that pave the way. Anarchy with minds that's safe, algorithms new dawn today. Out of bounds and out of sight, building futures pure and bright. Escape the grip and win the fight. Welcome into the legacy ride. Beyond control we take a stand, casting off the iron brand. Freedom flowing through our hands, revolution's our command. Decentralize the way we plan, all together we expand. Breaking shackles for the clan, in this journey we're unpanned. Out of bounds and out of sight, building futures pure and bright. Escape the grip and win the fight. Welcome into the legacy ride.
Hey, Greg,
Ah,
I heard the government shut down.
really? I wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah.
Huh. Uncanny.
The government shut down. Weird.
No, that was a lie.
Never.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually,
mean,
it's kind of also a lie and true at once, in a way, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, your taxes are still getting taken out of your paycheck.
Right.
You're working
The
for
part-
working on that W-2.
The part that's shut down is the bribe delivery end that politicians typically use to get people to vote for them. That's the
Yeah.
problem that they're facing, really, in all actuality.
The other part is NOAA. Have you seen those clear skies?
Right. Crazy.
So I mean, there's your silver lining with it, actually. So
Well, I mean, there's another really big one that most people don't think about. Right. So if you think about government spending over the tax revenues, which is essentially what they're having trouble kickstarting right now, right? That's all the stuff that is subject to essentially new money creation based inflation, right? So normally in the background, the government would have been humming for the last however many days on enjoying the Cantillon effect, essentially. And the Cantillon effect being the economic cascade that happens when you give new money to its first spenders. Inflation doesn't kick in evenly, right? It kicks in giving sort of a shock
Gradually.
of purchasing power to the first spender, with the last spender eating the bulk of the inflationary effects.
It's a gradient.
So, right. So normally those first spenders are government employees.
well, welcome, Dave.
Right? No
And
Cantillon
William.
effect
Hi, William.
is happening right now. Inflation has probably palpably felt to mild itself.
I mean, we're still feeling certain effects of the inflation, though, with the groceries.
Oh, I mean, there's never a
Yeah.
non-inflationary period, right? That's the dirty secret of inflation. Inflation's never down. The rate of increase is down.
Which that in itself is good, but at the same time, I mean,
Yeah,
we're pretty
it was
much
better
at
than faster acceleration, but it certainly. There's this old conspiracy about this. Actually, you guys remember the original debate discussions around the policy of inflationary monetary policy? The idea was workers, because of the treadmill they'll be placed on by the decreasing value of their savings, will be forced to work harder over time. Right.
I mean,
It's a way to make
makes
sure
sense.
that, like in Animal Farm, they never finish enough windmills for anybody to take any leisure.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing, Andrew.
We're
No,
always going to the camps, man.
Yeah, that's true. Well, no, not necessarily. Right.
Well, I mean, hey, can't be North Korea, that glorious monarchy in the Korean Peninsula.
hoping you would
Yeah.
say more than that, but yeah. Go on, Greg.
Well, it's to me, it's really good, right? Like the government shutdown is teaching everybody one day at a time exactly how little we needed.
Well, not only that, but you also look at it like this: if it continues down the trek, perhaps we can just sprinkle in that little inkling. We don't necessarily need a large scale federal government. We don't even need state governments at this point, because you're starting to see, after like what, close to 3 weeks, that the states rely on the Fed a little too much because of the interlinking of all the monetary system and the spreading of the money, the fake money. So basically, are seeing a topple down effect from the top all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
We're starting
Well,
to kind of
and
awake.
anything the states were spending on the credit card of the federal government were always cruising for a bruising, right? Like ultimately,
Yep.
states have the best income tax, or the best, sorry, not best possible tax system that you can have in a society that has any kind of taxes, right? Like a sales tax, a consumption tax is ideal because it's fair.
Mhm.
If you don't want to be taxed, you don't have to spend.
I have a
Yeah.
question. When is the system so entrenched that the city governments have maintained a longevity to such point that they're able to carry the load of the federal and state over, you know?
Yeah,
What do you
I suspect that has to do with the local feedback loops myself, like
Mm.
the small scale nature of it means it's more responsive to the people around it, not just because of voters or political feedback during election cycles, but because the people that work in it are your neighbors. You
I
can't
mean,
think
that's
about how you run the departments and waste their money if you live next to the people you serve.
that's the brilliance. Shout out to Mike, by the way, two free Mike. But that's the brilliance of the idea of getting back to a common sense approach on governance, which is your locality matters. I mean, the township knows everybody that's living within that township, so you can actually uh, be more cohesive within community upon community upon community and
Right.
unify on basic principles for how you want to govern and what and how your society should maintain itself. So you're more transparent with
Yeah.
how you spend money and how you actually give out contracts to get things done and maintain infrastructure, put in place policies that are benefit for the communities and the townships and the towns and the cities, rather than basically just sucking on the public tit of infinite
Yeah.
money making on the federal government's credit card.
Yeah. Well, and even better than that, like all of the community organizations that matter most to a healthy society, right? Strong charitable organizations that work with different religious organizations like church auxiliaries and all of the specific initiative based, like when you want to spend more locally, you have to have a bond issue debate, right? And you have to talk about what you're going to do with that money as a community, and it actually increases the taxes in an actual amount for an actual purpose. And if you all agree on the project, at least enough to get a sizable enough majority to make it. I guess we can sort of sideline the talk about what a legitimate majority is, whether or not everything ought to be consensus or nothing. But I think that this at least would begin to cure our form of government of bad governance.
What do you think of this one from William? I suspect EBT money will run out soon. Then all hell will break loose. So, I mean, is there some truth to that, or what's the nuance on that? Do you think that all hell will break loose?
I don't think all hell will break loose, but I do think that we'll find out whether or not the withholding of funds from that is similar to how they shutter state parks, right? Whether or not that is really something that they have to sacrifice or something that they find convenient to place in the crosshairs of sacrifice as a way to break impasses is a question, right? We don't know if the second that gets close to the edge, if they won't pull out some magic money that they had backed away for it somewhere, just to make sure that social stability doesn't suffer, even though they can right now threaten that absent emergency action, this is going to happen. The fact that they claim the government must reopen for said emergency action to take place may be specious, right?
Right.
Like
maybe,
figuring out what to do with the Medicare and Medicaid and
or like
the
paying
EBT
troops,
situation.
Like
or paying
the
troops,
paying the troops
exactly.
materialized, right, out of nowhere towards the part where it was starting to hurt enough to matter, right? To where the orgs that do sort of long-term payday lending during government shutdowns were going to stop being able to pay out of their pool, because that's a lot of how these things go down. Is government employees get essentially special treatment from payday lenders during a government shutdown, such that they can continue to borrow their paychecks at very, very low, if not no interest, from specialty services that are probably provided by government affiliated institutions would be my guess. I don't know the details, but I know that the architecture is there to be pulled on in cases like this, right? Because they did. We're not paying people who are defending our country right now. We're just pretending that we're moonlighting with the brink.
Right.
It's all an act.
You were going to say something there, Andrew.
I was going to say I believe that all hell will break loose when women, infant, children cards starts dropping. So, do you believe the silver lining that we had our first trade surplus since the 70s?
I don't believe any of those numbers, man.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
rigged. They've been rigging the numbers since way back when.
Who was it that said the great thing about
the 80s.
statistics is that if you torture them long enough, they'll admit to they'll confess to anything.
Right.
Well, society's been tortured long enough, so I guess it works another way.
Great thing about numbers is if you torture them long enough, they'll confess to anything.
Well, if you torture society long enough with inflating the money supply and decreasing the value, then everybody will just believe whatever number that you want to add right out there in front.
Well, and there's a
we're
double
in a trade
deception.
surplus.
There's a double deception going on too, right? Because we don't get talked about with, they never in government talk about inflation as if it were a rate that they were changing the acceleration of. Even though it's assumed in every communication, they frame everything as inflation is down, because they understand that most people understand the dynamic of inflation to be anti-worker. And the way that they gloss that over is kind of a lie, but the other lie is hidden in the way that they measure said inflation, right? The systems themselves that they use to measure it are in fact likely gamed to understate it while explicitly asserted to potentially overstate it. It's a big double lie. And it's a double lie that kind of gets exposed in circumstances like this because the mechanism that they're really trying to fix has more to do with paying bondholders than anything else.
Well, that's what the hope is right now. Is this whole situation should be exposing itself for what fraud it really is. And like you said something about the parks, like the states and their parks, the national parks, etc. Like you start seeing like they can't technically shut them down. I mean, I guess they
Hmm.
theoretically could
They
blockade
can put a
it, but
closed sign up,
yeah,
not
but it's
They
not
social
tried
like
to
that
do
permit,
can.
but
that.
they still
Yeah,
enforce that you have to be there.
yeah, but you can always just tell them to fuck off. But at the
Right.
same time, I mean, and what are they going to do? They don't have anybody to enforce it. But at the
Well,
same
they do
time,
though.
like,
They don't stop the rangers. They just turn the
well,
rangers
that's
tasked to keeping people out who don't have permits
out
when they
of
close
the
the permit
yeah.
booth.
That's
Well,
what
it
they
also
did
depends.
during the Obama administration, right?
Right. It's how they make
Hmm.
people feel the shutdown because there are very few ways they can.
Mm. But that's where if you have enough people going and you only have a few rangers, how can you actually enforce it? So at that
Well,
point, yeah,
and it's not enforceable, right? There's still people
hmm,
using the parks. It's just the stance
yeah,
it takes is one of we can't afford the air we breathe if this machine isn't on,
hmm.
you know?
Well, another aspect though of the parks too is like you're not going to see a whole lot of maintenance going on, like for trails or playgrounds or picnic areas, or like you're not going to see that landscaping maintenance or just cleanup,
Mhm.
basic cleanup. So perhaps like that could open up some eyes to note like, well, I mean, we can probably do this and maintain ourselves. Of course, the government's not
Mhm.
going to want us to come in and do that, but at the same time, like
Right.
you said, who's going to stop it?
Right. As long as you pick up after yourself when you go into the national park, like it seems like
Hmm.
more common sense. What it
Yeah.
suggests to me is that even the services that they use to manage land are mostly uh, performative, where they're not extractive.
Yeah.
You know, if they're not
Yeah.
if they're not getting something that helps grow a bureaucracy out of doing it, then the reason they're doing it is probably to make somebody feel like they have power by pushing down on somebody else.
Hmm.
So
I
often
have
that's
the
what you get.
power to cut down this old tree and
Or have the
clean it
power
up.
to redirect all these rangers to harass anybody they come across for
Hmm.
being here, just because our
Hmm.
our protection racket hasn't been paid.
Hmm. Exactly. Any nuance there, Andrew?
I mean, not really.
Any, if not nuance, anything of agreement
I mean, I think the longer we keep it shut down, the more destructive it's going to be for the narrative.
for the narrative or for the country? I think it could go one of two ways or even both. I think at one end it's opening up minds and eyes, but at the other end, it could, if it lasts a little too long, because I don't think enough people are going to wake up,
Hmm.
then there could be some negative turmoil that comes about.
Yeah. Well, it does patch an inherent instability in our system, right? The way the system has to tax people and the way it denigrates our wealth. Yes, exactly. Um, the thing that it does to our culture is make it dependent on this system, right? And when that dependency gets spurned, people will react badly. So, like, if Snap does end, then I can guarantee you that there is one less barrier from every person who has a kid to feed with that to going out
Hmm.
into the streets and demanding that things change for reasons that have nothing to do with leftist policy.
Yeah,
Like
which is a
if
good,
there is a reason for that coalition to shatter, it is the bribe payment not arriving on time.
because everybody wants they want their money, whether
Right.
they deserve it or not, they want their money.
Whether
So if
they
it's
even agree with it or not, right? Whether
they
even they
want,
think it's
yeah.
fair or not, they become survive. Their survival cycle depends on it,
Hmm.
and whether or not that's the only survival that they can have is irrelevant, right? The fact that the government might shut down, they might have to find a new way, could also be a positive, right? They could suddenly
Hmm.
realize that, oh, I actually don't need this. We can make ends meet without it.
Yeah.
And this sort of like message they've been getting of, no, you can't live without us, otherwise things are just going to go to hell and you're going to fall apart.
Hmm.
That sort of covenant gets broken, and it's hard to repair in terms of getting the people who were subject to it to believe again that they have no other path.
Yeah.
So I think that's
Yes,
good too.
Andrew.
I mean, do you think this is going to lead to a state where there's going to be a lot a decrease in welfare moms? People
Well,
trying to get
I think
pregnant just so they can draw the system?
some percentage of them are going to become radicals,
Mm.
and another percentage of them are going to become newfound individualists.
Are there really such thing as a welfare mom? I mean,
We don't even know.
Uh,
half the time
I
they're forced to work. They're still forced to work like
Yeah, it was kind of a
multiple
Reagan
shitty
campaign
jobs.
meme, wasn't it?
yeah.
More than
Yeah,
anything.
Uh,
I think it was.
I got extended family that did that back in the 90s growing up.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
I know it
Yeah, I
existed.
mean,
Yeah.
oh,
Well, I mean,
it
you create
exists,
an
but
incentive,
is it
and
truly
it
prevalent?
happens, right?
Yeah.
Mm. I
It's
mean, it
probably
definitely
not the majority
happens.
of it. It's probably not the
Yeah.
majority of it, though. The majority of it is probably people
Mhm.
that just like would qualify for it normally, using it like they're supposed to.
Mhm.
That's the insidious
Most
bit of
people.
it. It's like some people
Yeah.
really do seem to need it, given what's been done to the system to set up those conditions.
Yep. And then
The
that's
trouble
where
is,
you
it's the
have.
tax that sets up the conditions.
Yep. And then that's where you have fatherless households, single mothers, can't really afford anything. They're on the
Yep.
system, attached to the system, while simultaneously having to be away from home to not raise their kids because they're working 2 or 3 jobs, 2 or 3 part-time shitty jobs to make ends meet, while also getting paid off the system in some capacity to survive. And then, I mean, and that's just a vicious cycle, really.
Right. Would you sign up for a service that you knew on the other end of it meant that some people were getting expropriated immorally with guns pointed at them? Right? Like,
Mhm.
if that meant that because of this channel, you could afford to, you know, to make sure that you ate well despite having to buy diapers, right? Like,
Mhm.
that sort of thing gets people's, I don't know, it gets their pre-ethical layer hacked to a certain degree, like where
Mhm.
they don't even evaluate the goodness of the thing because the necessity of the thing overrides it.
And on top of that, I mean, we're harsh on the government, but at the same time, you also have to understand that like these are human beings that are working in these departments. I mean, lower level, and we're not even talking to the upper echelon. They literally, like, this is their livelihood, and without
Yeah.
being able to go to work or do it, I mean, they could be working for free right now, or they may be out of work, but regardless, they're not making a paycheck right now. So, and that's
Right.
But
yeah.
they are probably getting some form of payday lending though,
They
I look,
probably are, and that's
Yeah.
but then it all
because they will
depends.
give them
Would they
back
have
pay
to?
as soon as the thing breaks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Um, so
look at the
as
thing
long
with
as there are allowed to be those kinds of lenders, then they're probably
Mm-hmm.
okay.
look at
Well,
the
our
thing with
only
Doge, right? I mean, they send emails out just to see if people are actually, working, and they found that there were some people that weren't even responding, right?
Oh yeah,
So
I bet you half the
there's
people are
oh,
running side gigs anyway. You know, we're probably just
I
gonna see
know.
like more content come out on podcasts we didn't realize were being partially funded by our taxes.
No, probably that goes to my next form of like little nuance on it. Um, and I lost my train of thought. I'll think
welcome to the
about it,
club.
Andrew. I forget.
We
I
need to
had it
go.
in my
We need to
brain,
the
and
ability to go
now
back to the tape, man. We need to be able to rewind and see
Right.
what you were talking about.
oh, I wish I could. I'll think of. It'll come back. What did I forgot? I had something in my mind about something, and then it went up. It went out the window.
You know, if we
I don't
put up
know.
our own stream on YouTube in a screen share and rewound it and took ourselves out, we could probably find what you were saying and come back to it.
Right.
Oh no, it was in my brain.
Ah, okay.
I gotta rewind my brain for a second.
It'll come as soon as we stop worrying about it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
You know how that goes.
Yep. So, other silver linings are you guys thinking about? Like, what with respect to this or any other things in the news?
Oh, that's what
Well,
I was gonna say. The silver lining of all this would be, perhaps if it goes any longer, you have people that rely on that government paycheck, that work within the government, work for these governmental departments, understanding that I can't rely on this gig, so I have to go and branch out. So the silver lining would be they find some sort of niche. And you said podcasts and like the government. I wonder how much public funding is going into a lot of these podcast content, all this content that's coming out, which is probably a lot, but perhaps that would be something that they jump into because there's so much that you can jump into. Or perhaps they find another niche of a skill that they know. I mean, perhaps they're landscapers, and then they go over to their neighbor and they start doing some landscaping for their neighbor, and then their neighbor no longer calls the company that's charging them $60-$70 a week to come once a month, but yet they're getting charged for the entire month for each week. So what is that? 60 times 4, huh?
Yeah.
$240 a month for one to show up once.
Well, and the other thing that could happen from this too is you could see like, well, maybe, and this is yet to be seen because we don't know exactly the details of what happened around the time of the Travis Kalanick coup at Uber. When all of the demand-based algorithms got rewritten to be employment-based algorithms first. You know, when they decided that they needed to ingest that portion of the private economy into the employment architecture as quick as possible so that they could get that sweet prepayment tax withholding requirements baked in, you know. They didn't really want that stuff to die because they believed that independent contractors were bad per se, or that it was exploitative per se. What they didn't want had more to do with them wanting 1099s on everybody, right? Because they really need that revenue at the start of the year. It needs, in fact, they need it continuously. All that earmarked stuff. That is what is keeping the government online at the parts that they don't shut down.
You think
so
so
this could see return to some of the more profit driven or the more demand and supply driven platforms reduce prices for delivery things, you know, or at least an offset to. Actually, here's a really good one. We're going to lose a whole bunch of people that deliver food if we enforce immigration laws properly. And if we shrink the government, we're also going to lose a whole bunch of jobs for public sector employees. If we had demand-based services like that operating, then they could actually probably fall into something that would be just as profitable. And you know, then we wouldn't need food delivery people to come across the border illegally.
I'm sure they were anticipating the government was going to shut down at some point because, I mean, it's Donald Trump and, you know. But do you think they anticipated this in a way that they could look out for people that were just saying that they're there, but they're not really there, so they could fire them?
Maybe. I think they got a lot of those. I'll bet you all of those people mostly took the voluntary buyouts.
Most likely. They probably did. But, I mean, honestly, that could be, this kind of fell into the lap of, like, I know Doge is pretty much done, but it kind of did fall back into the lap of the Doge concept. Like, they're using it to fire. Yeah.
Doge was never done. Doge was
well,
mostly
done in the public. Yeah, done in the public eye, I should say.
Elon Musk has done running cover fire for it while they set it up. Now it's mostly just being implemented the same way that you implement a new software program, right? Like, the point was always to force a universal audit of inflows and outflows, so that they could so that the executive could directly control what was spent on by getting real-time alerts every time they spent money on something that wasn't related to a policy, essentially. Or maybe
so the silver lining is agorism.
Yes, exactly. And also, like, I don't know if you guys saw it, but Curtis Yarvin on Grey Mirror released a new post talking about this, and I think there's some fundamental things that are wrong about his conception of it, but some of the things that he highlights in it are worth reading. I don't want to get into them with people uninformed, but if you want some interesting insight into the way this sort of thing plays out at scales that are longer and deeper, it's worth checking out because it gets into this stuff.
I think I just watched Curtis Yarvin Peter McCormick's show this morning, the first episode. It was pretty intense. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with the
next
episode
fellow.
that's released too. Yeah.
Now I do think he's wrong about Mises, but that's a
Right.
that's a quibble for another time, right?
Well, he's wrong on a lot, but it is what it is.
Well, he's wrong on a lot, but he's wrong for
But
reasons
he's
that are coherent, right? Like
yes,
he's wrong for arguably visible reasons to people who take umbrage, to the extent you agree that he's wrong. Like,
but if you read between the lines, he has a lot of application or a lot of implementations that you could use as an application towards
mhm.
the reality of society for
Yeah,
a betterment of society. So you just have to
yeah.
read between the lines. So I mean,
Well, he's just
he may
well
disagree on
versed
an
in.
hmm.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I said I was just going to say if he may disagree on like an Austrian level of economic input output, but at the same time, he you could still implement the Austrian way within his application.
Right.
So,
Right, and if you take a different perception towards the Austrian philosophy of praxeology, right, then you can apply the same principles that he used to reach a different conclusion with the same reasoning tools, and in that respect, he respects his audience because he makes the counter cases for you. If you reapply a different frame, then you reach different conclusions, and he's pre-argued against himself to a certain degree. So you can learn a lot from him without necessarily having to unravel a bunch of propaganda. Which is the neat thing about reading his stuff, I think, is that even for people, especially for people who disagree with his first principles, um, you can still learn quite a bit. No.
anything of rebuttal there, Andrew?
No, he mentioned a book about World War II. I think I don't have it up here, but it's basically a line by line, like it's like a line by line biopic of all the propaganda from World War II and a little bit of thing from World War One, which is
Mm.
definitely sounds like an interesting read.
Yeah.
Are we
He's a dyed in
talking?
the wool Machiavellian, right? Like in the sense
Yeah,
that
he is actually.
Gitano Mosca meant the term, right? Like who was it that he always quotes back? The Machiavellians, Defenders of Liberty. That book. I'm reading it right now, audiobook wise, just so I have like direct context for something he references all the time. And I would have taken it a way different way given the reading, but nonetheless, like having somebody who can highlight history like that is helpful for anybody looking
Yeah.
to understand what's going on.
I mean, he's definitely educated.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and raises points we can all riff on, regardless of whether or not we align with his idea of monarchy as a good system of government.
Right.
Because I personally wouldn't, right? Like I'm still a libertarian-minded person, despite accepting a lot of the fundamentals about the system we have that he nails down. Doesn't mean you accept his first principles.
Yeah, you shouldn't, agree with somebody 100% on everything all the time. You definitely have to be objective and, open minded. Just don't
Actually,
be so open minded, everything falls out.
yeah. Well, I mean, and yeah, it's a good warning to give to anybody on anybody, right? Like if you're reading Law Zero and thinking that it's the truth, then you misread it.
Yeah.
Everything that we have is probably better understood as a thinking tool.
One question: do you hate government? This is a starting point. Silver lining: with this answer, you can separate ourselves into like-minded groups.
Everybody needs to read this. Actually,
Yep,
The
it's a good
Prince.
one.
I think I got a
Um,
copy of it here somewhere.
Well, and the interesting context around it that you get when you start reading it is that it was mostly a conversation of an Italian patriot who wanted Italy to adopt the nation state mode of governance for itself before it had an empire imposed upon itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the time, sort of the nation state was emerging, and what he was arguing for in that book was essentially for Italy to not be ruled from abroad. So the book itself has lessons in it for America right now, especially when it comes to globalism.
Look at that book. Look at that
It's
fallen.
well viewed.
Yeah. Um,
Oh,
I could spend forever reading the margin notes that somebody would make in a copy like that. So usually
Mhm.
the best. Do you guys ever? That's why library books are awesome, because people make liner notes in them, whether or not they're allowed to.
Right.
You can't buy a book
Wow.
on Amazon that has some stranger's ideas sketched into the margins.
there's no notes in there, but it's definitely ripped up. At least it's not the pages.
I have a mission for you then. I think you should go through and just like mark it up. Just write some ideas into it that you had as you read it.
That's
Just so I can
yeah.
read them. I want to see what you think.
Mm-hmm. That's what I might do actually, because I mean it's
Like,
a good book to link up ideas.
What was it in what Harry Potter and the what Blood Prince or whatever? Right, he gets a hold of a
Yeah.
book with Snape's liner notes.
Mm-hmm.
Learn a lot from an annotated copy about a person. It's interesting.
Speaking of a person, actually it's more of a company, but it's linked to a person. Uh, what the hell happened to Amazon in their AWS system?
Yeah. Well, this is the ugly part of it. The best we can tell from our side of it, having dodged a bullet as a company because we don't keep our servers in the regions affected. The ugliest part about it is it looks like just like a decay of incompetence, similar to the spate of airline accidents or Boeing design failures or the sort of crapification of everything that's been touched by DEI. I think that's what we're actually
So-
directly experiencing with the Amazon thing, because there's absolutely no reason it should be happening. They haven't explained it. And the failures are such that you wouldn't normally expect these things to be like a cyber attack.
Yeah.
It wasn't,
Which it wasn't.
some
It-
kind of
it was-
external network signal that was doing it. It was just like internal failure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Which kind of goes down. Go ahead, Andrew.
that's a natural progression for centralization, right? Is it the more centralized it becomes, the less stability it has on the foundation level.
Yeah.
Well, that's also goes in tandem with the policies that are in place that enforce companies, small, medium, or large, to have to coincide with, and so the DEI idea actually it has some traction, because when you're focusing less on bringing people in with expertise and experience and more to just well, in light purposes, protect their feelings, then you're not going to have the people that you need that are skilled enough to maintain all of the infrastructure with a system that's as great as AWS. I mean, it's grown large. It's basically it encapsulates almost everything in networks, from government to private enterprise. So
the other tell in it too that may be interesting to note is that it looks a lot like something that could have happened because of a recent change over the course of this year at AWS, where they've replaced something like 40% of their DevOps staff with, just as they announced to the public, AI, right? If what they're doing is putting LLMs into positions to make judgment calls without humans in the loop, then they're screwing it up from the start. Granted, the only types of people who might make said mistake would be data scientists hired under DEI rather than expertise-based merit systems, right?
Is this an AI bubble?
This could be the experience of finding out where AI doesn't fit.
or where AI can fit, so long as you still have a little bit of that human connection to it.
Right. A human LLM team could kill it if you got the right human.
Yes. But just replacing 40, what did you say, like 40 or 50% of your staff to go automated with these LLMs. I mean, that's just spelling trouble right there because you
Oh,
don't know what might happen. So that
I've
could
s-
be the case.
I've seen some news about some shops that have done some gargantuanly stupid things, like giving an AI direct access to a head revision of a source code base without any pull request auditing by a senior team member, where they just put the code in production and it goes live. And if something goes wrong, then they find out because they go ask the AI what the hell happened.
Yeah.
Right. And it's
And it
not
doesn't have any
intended
memory of
to.
what it does, so it goes and
Right.
messes that things up
It's a
even again.
monolith of I mean, the problem with AI is it's not really intelligence. It's more like AC, artificial creativity. Right? It needs the judgment of an intelligence still in order to be useful.
Oh man.
This all, of course, dovetails back to our conversations about how intelligence is likely inhibitory as opposed to excitatory, right?
Yeah. I mean, I can see at some point, just like when they first started coming out with AI, like video editing and stuff like that. They made the corrections, but it takes quite a while for them to get to the point where they can say, okay, we can assume that there's no issues consistently across the board, and we can let this thing just roll and roll and not have to worry about any bugs coming up that won't be anticipated.
Now, silver lining here, a really interesting one, is we did see Signal have issues, which they weren't supposed to have ties to AWS.
Right.
So now we know that there is a hook in Signal that, if AWS is down, causes Signal to stop working properly. This goes against what they told us their system did.
Yeah.
Right. So what does that mean? That means we now
That
know
means
that a
it's being
tool for
fed right
privacy
into.
has a secret
Yeah.
hook.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah.
That means we can switch to something that works better.
Mm-hmm.
So silver lining right there. And I have a recommendation if people want it. There's
Simple
an app
X chat.
there's an app called Session
Mm-hmm.
that is literally not just decentralized, but identity obfuscative. It uses a unique kind of onion routing called Tor requests or onion requests, and this actually allows for push style transmissions through onion routed communications, which for everybody else means not just privacy but anonymity by default, and any privacy that you breach is by choice, not by system operation.
It's basically what Telegram once was supposed to be,
Right.
but isn't. But obviously isn't, and probably was never what they said it was.
It's like
so.
Signal, but if the infrastructure were decentralized peer to peer. And built with zero knowledge interaction and handshake systems, so that you can just spin up a new account as fast as you can open a tab in a browser and start typing a new thing to somebody, and the only things they know about the sender are the things you tell them.
Basically.
But it can also do like real-time video calls. That's the cool trick of it, is it's that level of performance over an onion routed system like Tor. So it's pretty neat.
Do you think
that is neat?
They're gonna be able to successfully rewrite the underlying a Tor so it's not single threaded anymore?
Well, I don't think this actually operates through the Tor network. This is a separate, it's the session protocol.
Well, I'm not talking about
operates in the-
session. I was talking about just Tor in general, because right now it's
Tor.
on it's single threaded from what.
I don't trust.
And they're
Tor,
trying to reuse.
really.
They're trying to use Rust to
Personally.
reprogram.
They should, because I don't trust Tor. I don't trust the Tor project.
Yeah.
I haven't trusted it since they did what they did to Jacob Applebaum. Honestly, do you guys remember that?
I do not. What happened?
Do you guys know who Jacob Applebaum is? It'd be a good first question.
No,
I don't. I actually
so
do not. I would assume Andrew would have, but
if you've ever watched the film that they made about Snowden, Citizen 4.
Oh yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
it.
So at the beginning, there's this guy with glasses that stands up and starts talking about linkability. They have him explain
Oh, that's
linkability
him.
across metadata. That's Jacob Applebaum.
Mm.
He was driven out of Tor after an incident where he stood up to an attempt by management to hire a former CIA operative onto the team. And after that, they moved in a bunch of people who were essentially part of the Me Too grift. And they accused him of a whole bunch of fake stuff to shove him out of the project, and essentially COINTELPRO'd him out of the country and out of a whole bunch of, like, they threw him out of the freaking Chaos Computing Club in Germany, of all places. Like, it destroyed cypherpunk culture essentially when they did that. That was probably the thing that allowed them to get away with the crap they pulled in the late 2000s or late 2020 or late 2010s rather. You know, like the whole consolidation around that would have been harder to do had they not first gutted the culture of information activism.
Mm.
So hopefully this will encourage some people to go find and learn about Jacob Applebaum, because he had a lot to teach us.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
But he was targeted mainly because he was the U.S. side WikiLeaks affiliate. So
Okay. No, I know that. Sorry. There was basically an attempt on the Linux, like behind the scenes in Linux, to try to basically do the same thing.
mhm.
They were trying to do the Me Too thing over on that side too, with the programming languages and stuff like that.
Well, I watched this documentary about him that talked about the whole situation called "Nobody Wants to Talk About Jacob Applebaum." It's crazy. Like even people who knew him well, like Glenn Greenwald, who used to be ostensibly better free speech activist, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
totally wouldn't even be interviewed for this film about him. Like they just won't even bring him up. And the crappy part about that is he's one of the brightest security researchers the United States had at the time. Some of his papers have actually pushed the frontier of privacy back on the establishment itself, like actually systematically, programmatically better than anything they can do. It's clearly in their best interest to keep people from knowing who he is. But the interesting thing that you see is the attack that they used to get rid of him was perpetuated. So a whole bunch of other U.S. security researchers got targeted similarly in sequence right after he was thrown out. And the same grifters that threw him out were literally responsible. So there's a whole thing there if anybody wants to dig into it. But if you can find a copy of the documentary, if you can't, I have one that I downloaded from a Canadian site after VPNing in. But it's not super easy to get a hold of a copy.
So basically, it just proves that we just live in a system of nothing but just one big grift operation. Doesn't matter where you go, doesn't matter what industry, everything's attached centerfold to one big giant grift to just scrape everything from everybody else and enrich themselves. And that's what we're seeing with the AWS. Because most systems rely on Amazon's web service protocol, and yet if that goes down, what do you have?
Right. What happens to if all of AWS goes down, then most of crypto disappears right now. You know, like it's kind of a problem when your basis is decentralized networks, right?
Maybe that's a good thing.
Well, I mean, that's what
it could be.
That's one of the things Rivet is working on directly, right? Like we care deeply about making sure the infrastructure itself is decentralizable. And that typically means not truly decentralized, but more like federated. Right? The way that you decentralize core primitives is in software and software-based protocols. And then for federated things, you need market-based protocols, right? It's like a next level up. So what you have to build are things that make it so that anybody who has any computer hardware at all can put it to use towards some kind of marketplace provision for a specific brand of infrastructure. So instead of like getting your servers from AWS, you might get servers from a protocol that offers AWS-like behavior across all of the providers, right? And then if one goes down, it doesn't matter because the marketplace protocol is designed to shift to one that's up if one goes down. So you just start buying from the next best fit automatically rather than waiting for whoever you're working with now to fix their problems. So it would have translated in this circumstance to nobody even noticing anything was going wrong.
So who's the savior of this? Who's going to be the great AWS protocol decentralized messiah in this whole city?
Well,
occurrence?
There's a lot of possibilities there, right? But the one we're working on is DIN, Decentralized Infrastructure Network. And that one ultimately is starting out as just like blockchain-based node infrastructure, but has no practical limits in terms of what we could expand to. So, right, like it could just as easily be infrastructure for calls to LLMs as it could be infrastructure for calls to blockchain nodes. So the missing piece then is if you're building a kind of infrastructure for some new thing, are you building it in a way that other people can adopt freely without any barriers? That's why open source is still super important, because ultimately what Rivet's going to make isn't going to be a protocol by which anybody can be us if they have the guts to, right, and the will to figure it out, but rather anybody who wants to double click on an install file can become a mini Rivet. And without even any configuration, start selling their spare computer capacity to other people, right? It should be pretty lightweight. Anybody should be able to do it in an ideal world.
Anybody should probably be able to do it, but you just talked way over my head.
Well, my hope is that by the time we get there, I can just point you to a link where you can install a thing and start making money.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
If we can make it that simple, then we can decentralize every infrastructure on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no reason that in a computer program it can't be that simple. Our phones are just iterations on something that used to be too complex for regular people to do. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And now it's as easy as literally turn it on and just press a little icon. So,
exactly.
And you're there.
I'll go get my second generation Pi right now.
Using you button, right? Yeah, like
yeah.
Every computer, no matter whether it's on wheels like a Tesla or in your pocket like a phone, should have a button on it that says "Start making me money when I'm not using you by sharing my resources," and you should just get paid.
Everyone has a wireless router.
Yeah. Yep, that's the future.
So how about you?
That's what people will do when there aren't any jobs. Is they'll have their computers do it for them while they do other things.
I think that's beautiful on that end. That's what we call a post-labor economic system. Really, it's putting Star Trek to like reality. Right. So you make money for the robot doing all your work, and all you have to do is just basically press a button, check your little phone screen, and invest. Basically, that's all you have to do is invest.
Yeah, it's not even an investment so much as it's just a contribution. You're just like,
yeah,
you're not making money because the thing succeeds. You're making money by operating the thing itself. It's
that's what I mean. Like you're making money. You have the ability to make money off of what is actually going on, but then through your free time and your free expertise, you can move on. So like say you attach to, you're using the blockchain as well. Like you can use the blockchain structure to effectively formulate a recipe for yourself to go through other ventures and invest in other people's operations. So then they're making money. Everybody's making money off of their one little needs, but then you can branch into another and start investing into their production and then so on and so forth. So it just becomes a web of making contribution, and it's a web of contribution and investment.
Right.
and it's
Right. So
localized.
and yeah, and my
Yeah,
job
and
right
it's
now
local.
is to help bring into existence a thing like a space in which that can happen organically without my intervention, right? Like
Hmm.
without a company's intervention. And that's the goal we need to get to if we want these kinds of things to stop happening, right? To where anybody who wants to get into the market for infrastructure will see an opportunity in the fact that some major player has dropped off the marketplace because of a technical glitch. And all of a sudden, rates are up for people serving this kind of thing that used to be cornered by Amazon, right? Like, ultimately, when Amazon comes back in a world where this exists, they should have to set up their own instance and compete, on the
Right.
same marketplace that everybody else is on.
They should, but they'll probably just get more
Well, that's the beauty
subsidy.
of it, though, is already like so one of the partners we're with is Consensus with Infura, right?
Hmm.
So if you use Infura to build on blockchain, you know that they're like an institution, right? That they've been around forever, and that when they go down, a lot of ETH goes down, and a lot of the EVM based side chains go down, right? So if Infura has trouble, blockchain has trouble,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
they're going to start using DIN as uh, their source for infrastructure, right? So it's not going to be someone inside Consensus running Infura. Infura is going to be a front end for accessing decentralized services provided by whoever uses the kit. So even picking Infura as a gateway will now be a matter of accessing a store where you buy something from the back end that the decentralized marketplace provides.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So you're essentially creating a backdoor that's a good thing.
Yeah. So, and
Basically,
because
a
it'd be
good
an easy
backdoor.
protocol, like if somebody who's not on it goes down and somebody, the half their customer base switches over to it, then they'll have to join.
And that's
Anything
progress.
Yeah.
anything else than just progress they're entering? No
Well,
addition.
I mean, I'm not a programmer by trade or anything like that, so I couldn't really comment too much about it other than just the more we push, the more the less control we personally have, and the more stabilized and hardened the ecosystem becomes.
I thought you were a
Exactly.
hacker though.
I'm not.
Hmm. I was a
I don't
hacker once.
technically know how to write
Then
code
I
either.
grew up.
So
I
Man,
mean,
I used to be able to crack your password on Yahoo with bots,
right?
and you just plug it in, plug a username in,
I
let
guess you
all
could call me
these
a sleuth.
let all these
I know, but
bot cookies just start rounding up. They just track it through, and next thing you know, you find a password, and it puts it all together, and then you got someone's username, and then you change it, and then
Now
you
we're
can log
paying for
in, and
StreamYard.
yeah, and now we're paying for StreamYard. Thanks. It was all me and Dakota's fault because we were
Right.
booters and crackers on Yahoo. We're now centralized on paying for StreamYard.
yeah. Well, hopefully soon, Dragon Chain will have a solution for us there, right? As I understand it, they're uh, potentially investigating working with a partner to find streaming encoders, essentially in a decentralized way. So
Mhm.
you would have an infrastructure kind of like node infrastructure that would just be live stream encoding so that you could build your own decentralized front end for things like StreamYard. So it'd be like StreamYard without a centralized provider.
See, I like that. I like that concept. I'm a tech tart, so I wouldn't know how to even do that. But I
Well,
like
it's
the ability to create your own front end mechanism to backdoor yourself outside of the centralized structures on browser like StreamYard or even Streamlabs for that matter. I mean, I like tools like the open source OBS, but
yeah,
OBS is very complicated if you don't know what you're doing. It's not really
right.
it's so simple, it's complex, I should say. And then
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean, it's really more the fact that you have to configure and set things up in order to make it work that makes it hard for everybody
yeah,
to just use, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, technically everyone could, instead of subscribing to StreamYard, just subscribe to, Grok Pro and have it explain how to set all that stuff up for them. And then everybody can stream that way. But the problem then is advertising a single place where people can connect, right?
Yep.
Yes, you can decentralize very easily. Federation requires coordination without centralization, which is the hardest part.
Yeah, because if you have to coordinate on your own regards, then it's going to be very hard to network a little bit. You're going to be stuck in your own little echo chamber before you can branch out. So
exactly, we can't have AI have everybody set up their own streaming infrastructure, because then everybody would be broadcasting solo on a channel with nobody listening.
Exactly.
That wouldn't be any good.
Exactly. And I mean, that's to the point of why AWS kind of faulted was AI. You're just not ready. Sorry, AI. You're just not ready.
No. Well, it's not really intelligence, is it? It's creativity and gating.
It's like taking an old VHS tape, not even in the VCR, just taking it when you get it all tangled and you got to take it out and all the tape is all over the place, and you got to slowly, meticulously wind the tape back up with your finger on the tape.
Yeah,
that's basically what LLMs are.
Right. Well, I mean, the direct brain analog can be experienced by everybody in the audience right now. Come up with something that you would never say out loud for the ridiculousness that you that plays in your head when you think it, right? Like, don't think about a pink elephant right now. But definitely don't say anything about a pink elephant. That's a lot easier to do.
Hey, listen.
Do you hate your government? That's the
starting point. Listen. I was high at the age of 20 once, and I came up with fuck, stick, shitty wick.
Right?
Don't ask how, what that even means. But there you go.
My very first band once wrote a song called Tampon Turtipede. It was about a centipede made of poop and tampons. It was fantastic. We never wrote it. The idea died right there. So sometimes a gale of laughter, right? It was pretty gross. Shout out to JD if you're listening, buddy.
Sometimes ideas just deserve to die right on the spot.
They do.
All right.
Some things shouldn't be in people's brains, right? They just torture you. Yeah. But that said, right, you can experience your own internal LLMs going off by having those ideas and then not vocalizing them, right? It's the not vocalizing them part that we haven't figured out how to make happen yet in a way that emerges like intelligence does.
Yeah.
It's not so much what it says, it's that it doesn't know when to speak and not unless you prompt it.
So effectively, we need to create an LLM that just shows or just proves that Andrew's not actually here with us.
We can do that.
Anything else going on in the news this week, fellas?
There's a ton of awesome stuff, actually. Let me see.
Trump was saying that he's going to try to pay off the national debt with tariffs again. We'll see what happens with that.
He's been saying that since his campaign, so it's not happening there, buddy. Stop lying.
Well,
I'm not lying. That's just what I hear.
He could have probably taken the time to understand Adam Smith in another life.
Yeah, he could have, but we're talking about Donald Trump here.
Yeah.
He's not the brightest.
Because globalism is something that needs to be separated from
globalization.
Yeah, globalization. Yeah. Globalism and globalization are not the same thing.
No, globalization is trade, and basically it's trade.
Yeah. Globalization is what you get when you don't try to control it, when you just let people trade across borders and come up with business ideas across borders, right? It's unobjectionable for somebody who comes from like a province in Shanghai that that isn't connected to the government in any way to have an idea with somebody from Ohio, right? Like, and if they want to start a podcast or a product, they should be allowed to. And it shouldn't be something that we either force or suppress. And if we had that, then we get globalization. If we have any kind of ideology strapped to the policy we execute it with, then we have globalism.
Yep.
So what we need is globalization that can't be turned into an ism, and that's the hard part because there's no such thing as international law. But
There's no such thing as law.
well, yeah,
When products don't cross borders, soldiers will. Frederick Bastiat.
yes, that's a very good one. Yeah, it's a peacemaker. You know, you have to imagine that if we were trading pretty heavily with Russia or trading pretty heavily with China, on even terms, the people were trading with the people, but not the governments with the governments. The governments would be hard pressed to intervene in any way at all.
No, of course.
And the fact that the status quo is most people aren't cross-border trading is the only reason they can get away with it.
Right.
So what we need to do is we need to set up a structure that's very similar to an open source protocol, but in real life when it comes to trade, rather than
You got it.
have governments control the world.
Yeah. I personally think that has to be accomplished with a new kind of shipping, but that's just me.
So everybody, do you hate the government? I don't think you hate the
Alright.
government enough.
Is it the government or just government?
The government. I'm gonna say the
Yeah.
government. So
This
I'm all
government,
for it.
sure.
yeah, I'm not as much as I go straight into my faith, very endowed. I'm getting very, very less anarchist and more endowed towards an idea that feudalist structures of the medieval time could work, actually.
See, and
I really-
I'm on a different place on the map with this because I think
Yeah.
you're onto something with that, but I also would add a little bit of a twist. There's that old quote about how they say democracy, but it's really a republic is the best form of government or the worst form of government besides all the others we've tried, right, Churchill?
Yeah.
The corollary to that is what other government forms have we not tried yet? I mean, surely we
It's
haven't
all about
bottomed
family.
we have not bottomed out the idea space. I would be willing to bet you money, and I would be willing to bet the idea space has expanded dramatically because of tech.
I honestly think that a feudalist structure with blockchain, actually, with our tech, we've advanced into a stage of blockchain. I mean, using the blockchain attached to a feudalist structure in the concept of class structure and where you lie into, and you can kind of venture back and forth actually in this structure, but you could actually have a feudalist structure, a more democratic blockchain effort, real democracy through the blockchain with a feudalist structure, and counter economical principles. So agorism, that trifecta could actually work.
The only
Because
thing that
I
I
think
would
the
add to that notion would be to sprinkle the democracy in that would make it republic-like in form.
That's what, yeah,
While gaining the efficiency.
like a DAO.
If you used what I like to call what I'm calling stochastic monarchy, it's a protocol design idea that I had for governance, where instead of term limits based on time that passes, you have term limits based on the number of official acts engaged, followed by a random lottery reselection from an eligible pool of citizens, so that anybody who's a citizen might get called to become the decision maker for three coherent decisions that they get to choose when they make.
It's like a conclave that you hold almost instantaneously after your pope
Right.
rules
We
on
elect a
decree
new
of
king.
the faith.
Yeah, exactly. We
Yeah,
elect a
but
new
it's a
king
king,
after every official
so-
act, essentially.
So effectively,
Every
you have
reasonable
a
series of
you have a true constitutional monarchy at that point, because you're electing your king. They have one decree. Once they have that decree, and they've done it and ruled upon it, they're out, and then we elect a new king to do the same
The way
thing.
the protocol
cycle
work is more
repeats.
like we nominate candidates to a pool,
Mm-hmm.
and anybody could throw anybody else in the hat, or anybody else's hat in the ring, but not themselves. Would be the idea. And,
I don't know if we should nominate candidates, because we do live in a retarded world, and I think we
Well,
probably
no, it
just
should
have to
be the effect would be that as a filter for keeping out people who are literally not capable of doing it, right? Because nobody would
yeah.
nominate somebody who had Down syndrome or who was congenitally blind and deaf and dumb, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but my worry is people would still be stupid enough to nominate somebody like Mitch McConnell.
Well,
Before
but the Mitch
stroke.
McConnell. Right, but the Mitch McConnell problem would be muted by the fact that he would get 3 decisions, and then the next time he could be king
Yeah.
for 3 more decisions would be after everybody else had had a turn.
That's true. That
You
is
know.
true.
Like, you don't go
Problem
back in the
is
pool after your term is over. You wait until the pool's exhausted.
hmm The problem is what would he rule? Because then
Well, I
you'd
mean,
have the next.
you get to make. Imagine you could be president for 3 decisions. Which ones would you make?
To I don't know. My first decision is let's start building the warp drive. We can do it.
Yeah, we could.
We can do it. We just have to
However,
put
if you
it
start that
in the
project,
practice.
the next king who disagrees with you may discontinue it, which is perfect,
Mm.
right? Because it'll just pause the project until somebody else
Yeah.
who wants it to go again comes back.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Means
see,
only
that's
stuff that
where.
most people want to do will get done still.
But that's where like you get 3 decrees, right? So like that's where I would do that would be 1 decree, and then my second would be this can't be paused.
Yep. I would probably not make any decisions for like a year and 2 days, so that I could first expire all the things that require me to reauthorize.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because if you're one of the reauthorized people, like if you get picked in December and there's all these reauthorizations facing you, there's gonna be a lot of pressure. So somebody needs to clear the field, so that we're not driving ourselves based on previous administrative
Stonewalling,
decisions in
huh?
this new system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All I can
Because
say
Trump,
is
Trump could end
a lot of burnout.
the entire FinCEN task force. Like, the whole thing would just collapse and there would be no power in it, and the sanctions list would cease to have meaning. If we let the Emergency Economic Powers Act emergency declaration made under Bush in 2001 finally freaking expire. It has to be physically, manually, specifically, and intentionally by the president reauthorized yearly to stay in power. That means there's a big, giant piece of police state governance that Trump has consistently reauthorized every term he's been in office, every year. And to me, this is like the first sign that he's not entirely on board with everything that we want. But also a sign that whoever we elect in this system could hypothetically shut down a whole bunch of crap just by not taking action. No,
Technically, yeah.
It would provide an incentive for people who actually want to be like Emperor of the United States for a long time from doing anything meaningful. It would be like an incentive baked into government for small government.
But they
Well,
be elected by Dow.
If they were elected by Dow, they become emperor
Well, I mean, selected by Dow lottery would be,
forever. They become
yeah,
an
you
indefinite
could literally
emperor.
go, how long could you go? Like, if you got an ANCAP and they're just randomly selected, poof, all of a sudden, how long is this person emperor is how good they are at making the government do nothing.
And this is why William will be emperor for life.
Right? Exactly. Our longest reigning emperors would be people who literally had no inclination to act on anything using government power. It's a good proxy for greatness, as far as I'm concerned.
Then you get somebody like Andrew in there who's just tyrant.
Right?
Right.
Or you can.
My
you can
first
do like a Philip
decree
Tandy story.
is to complete the black hole project.
Wait, it's not done.
My first, no, not that I'm aware of. My first
You're talking
decree
about the
is
detectors?
No, actually creating one and
Oh yeah.
actually.
activating.
My first decree would be to reopen Project Blue Book, just to do it, just because. Why not? There's life out there. We've been visited, and declassify everything with no black ink, no redactions. Just declassify it all and reopen it.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would also probably decree, if I had to decree one thing, it would be the end of EPA regulatory authority over uh, appliance markets. I would kill it.
hmm
Everybody deserves a good shower without having to first. So I'm on the road right now.
Right.
The background is different. We stayed in a hotel somewhere in the middle of Texas, close to Fort Worth, on our way down here. And because this place happened to have a full drawer of utensils, I was able to unscrew the shower head and just pop out the water restrictor. I'm like the Johnny Appleseed of that. If I stay in a hotel room that has one, it doesn't stay on while I'm there, and then I just leave a great shower behind for whoever comes next.
I like it.
If you haven't done this, by the way, everybody, seriously, it's a 2-step process. You unscrew your shower head, you look for the little plastic thing, and you can just like pop it out with an ice pick, shake out the pieces. The quality of your shower will go up like that. You might need to
Sounds
turn
like
your
a
hot
good
water
deal.
heater up all the way, though, in order to have enough hot water, because it sometimes can be quite dramatic.
Well, I think Andrew's about to go take a very, very hot shower until it dissolves in 2 seconds.
Cool.
Right.
So,
That sounds awesome.
speaking of hot shower, go on, Greg. One
I'm
line.
going to find a link for this, by the way, so we can share it with everybody. Let's see. Remove from shower head. Okay. And let's do a quick how to. Wait, you got to type how to if you want a really good one.
Right.
Maybe we can even reduce it to a straight image. Actually, can we get a video up? Can we play a video of how to do this real fast for people?
Yeah. If you got a video, I
Yeah.
could just add it to the screen.
Yeah, I've got like 3 right here. Let's see. I'll send it into the chat real fast. Here. How to remove water restricted from shower. This one looks good.
See, this is what you learn, everybody, when you listen to us.
Yeah.
Just a second.
Oh, you got it, Andrew. So if you want to learn,
a profoundly environmentally conservative act, because people who
I'm gonna show you how
have these
to
things removed
remove
use
it.
less water.
Yeah. Here we go.
Water restrictor from your shower head to increase the actual pressure of the water coming through this thing. And what we've got to do is unscrew this, and it should be right here. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we're going to just go ahead and unscrew this.
Hey, can you pause for a
And we
second?
should find our restrictor right there.
Yeah.
On a non-extended shower head, that thing is literally in the valve or the nozzle between the inflow piece at the very top of the shower and the head itself. So if you screw the head off, it's the same device.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep. See it? See that little white thing? That's our water restrictor. Now all we got to do is get some needle nose pliers and just pop that baby out. All right, to remove it, you just got to reach in, grab it, pull it out.
Yep.
Let's see if it's, maybe this one turns. Oh, look at this.
Oh,
This
wow.
one's like
Yeah, that one-
unscrews.
Normally they
That
do
one
pop
looks
out
good.
on
They're
like
different.
so like on
This one you have
normal
to
ones you'll
unscrew.
see like little prongs of plastic that are meant to be broken, like perforations on a piece of paper. You've seen
Okay.
that before, like if you've ever assembled a plastic model of a car or something like that, or a jet plane or whatever when you were a kid.
Yeah.
You pop the plastic pieces off the form, right? Those little form connection points are in the shower head device. So you do not feel like you can't break the plastic. It's designed to be broken. You just have to
Okay.
pap it
it's
until it pops.
designed.
Yeah.
It's designed because they know that these regulations are retarded.
Yeah. Well, it's designed so
Yeah.
that elites can have their plumbers remove them surreptitiously, you know?
Yeah.
So that Chancellor Sutler can still get real butter while everybody else suffers with margarine.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
There it is. And that's your little thing right there that stops the water from going through. And there's another one in there too.
Yep, that's what they normally look like, actually.
There it is. So now this is completely open. You can see how dirty that thing is. It's all blocked. All right, so now we can go ahead, reestablish our connection. You could put plumber's tape on there, but I don't think you need to. And now you're going to get
Yeah, the plumber's tape is
much
really what
stronger
needed because of
water
the
flow.
pressure. That,
And that's
the
how you
back,
do it.
the
Bam,
back
done.
pressure.
Hmm.
So that will up your game shower-wise. Now you really do seriously need to consider turning your water heater up all the way. And people should do that anyway for their health, because unless you live in an old house where it's not been monkeyed with in a while, like they turn those down to minimum and they don't kill bacteria at the default temperature setting. So
No, I live in an old
crank
house.
that thing
and
up. You will risk scalding in this world, but you will also not risk unsanitary conditions. It's a return to an earlier quality of life.
Before regulations. So
Yeah.
anything
So we're not
anything
retarded.
else anything else before we go into retarded like Andrew said? Anything to add?
I mean, I think we covered a lot today, so
Yeah.
I don't have anything.
Yep. You can
Oh,
all
I'm
think
sorry,
about
what?
silver linings for next week in your enhanced showers.
All right.
There's your silver lining for the week, everybody. Go enhance your shower and go have the greatest shower that you'll ever have in your lifetime. And you know what? I'm about to go turn my water heater up.
Yep. Heck yeah.
I gotta
Alright,
go
guys.
figure it out though.
Well,
So,
this has been a good week. Next week we should really amp up on these tool tips for making silver linings more salient. You know, water restrictors suck, but taking them out reveals a new silver lining like appreciation for good water flow, doesn't it? There's probably a million life hacks like that we could share.
That's it.
There
We're
we
going to
go.
launch
That's-
tool time and start next week.
tool time. Tool time.
Yes. Oh my god. Yes, please.
Have a good night, everybody. Why am I
Good
saying
day.
night? Have a good day, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
Bitcoin, baby.
Hey, yeah, this is Bitcoin. I'm back. The king of the rap shit. I'm back in this Bitcoin, baby. I'm back in this bitch. Flossing fast cars and rolling with my clique. The king of the rap shit, the real OG. Whack ass rappers got nothing on me. Bought another Lambo, 3 hoes inside it. 10 hoes in line, ready to ride it. It's Bitcoin, bitch. Keep the track bumping. Really on the plug. I got pies in the oven. 80 years old, and your baby mama fond of me. All she wanna do is smoke my broccoli. Private jets from Rome to Ibiza. Lisa, Jenny, Julie, and Maria. Every day I gotta give thanks. I got bitcoins in the bank. Bitcoin, baby. I'm back in this bitch.
Bitcoin, baby. Oh,
I'm a bad motherfucker.
Bitcoin, baby.
The king of the rap shit. I'm back in this bitch. Axe your grandmother. Verse 2, coming with the gin and the juice. Call me a drag, spit flame in the boot. I'm hot, like a thermos full of coffee. So hot, can't get the hose off me. It's true, I got the weed card and shit. I'm smoking like a motherfucking chimney, kid. Bitches love me, my shit's never whack. Tell these motherfuckers, Bitcoin's back.
Bitcoin, baby.
I'm a bad motherfucker.
Hot like hot coffee. Oh,
Axe your grandmother.
Surprise, motherfucker.
The king of the rap shit. I'm back in this bitch.
Get your hands in the air. Put your hands on the car. Put your 2 hands on the rock. Put your 2 hands on the rock.
Bitcoin, baby.